Hello. The effects of the balanced scorecard on performance. It's an article written by three students from Australia. They look at the impact of alignment of the strategic goals and performance reporting for large companies or small, and expected from business users, some CEOs of business units, to fill questionnaires and explore the data. Um, they started with the balanced scorecard, um, famous approach to measure an organization performance in 2008, at the time of the article, and linked to the previous literature, which make it relevant in the study of these fields. And I appreciated all the citations and how it is a continuation of previous study, and there's a lot of further investigation as well, like the size of the samples. They kind of investigate only 50 until companies. They should maybe have a larger numbers. They realize that also some aspect described in documents, they see the limitation, which is very nice to acknowledge where they were able to prove the two assumptions and some mixed results, and where they're able to as well provide some honest limitation of what they could achieve and what they couldn't, and how and give some ideas of others can keep on investigate this field. So this is a kind of introduction of what this document is about, and they to deep dive a little bit more. They look at the perspective of the financial, customer service, business processes, and the learning and growth. And what is important is from their approach, the goals are not necessarily aligned with the measure of the performance, which is just like myself. To give an example, they cite Infosys and another large company working for a large bank in Charlotte, North Carolina, close to Fayetteville. There is larger companies they canvas the approach for a large number of employees. So you set goals and you're supposed to review mid-year and close to end of year to try to give a perspective of performing or medium performing or low performance. This is what they have to do to manage a large number of employees. But is it really aligned to the strategy of the company? I don't think so, and especially larger the company and more regulated it is, it's more difficult to be close to your employee and have this better alignment between what you aim in details, what you aim for your employees or for your company, and how you measure the achievement of that. What the study mentioned is about the environment, the social responsibilities. This was not confirmed as a dimension, an item's dimension that was linked correctly or positively between the goals and the measure of the performance. The rework and the waste was interesting, and what I noted for myself is kind of close to Lean and Six Sigma, and there's so much different type of waste, and the company should also look at that and how maybe by the measuring this performance, negative performance, what should be a goal for not being a waste. If you think about coding and you need to redo a piece of code because you find a defect later, yes, what can you adapt maybe to get your team to have less rework, less defect, or to find them sooner in the process, not too late. This is my own experience, and yes, I work with Agile, and I'm personally involved with that field. And by testing early, by failing fast and failing quick and cheap is better. So you fail cheap, so it's not too bad. You're close to your objective from your customers. So globally, the company can have can prove some hypotheses sooner and work on what they really need and discover early and discourage wrong code, wrong expectation, wrong path to solve some business situation. So that was an echo for that piece of lean and just applying lean to companies and having some maybe program to encourage managers to be more mindful about those types of waste and rework, which in the article it was not entirely proven, and there was a further research point. Another point I would like to make before ending my presentation video to my colleague Rajad, it's about organization behavior. I think by the time and the literature and the research mentioned this organizational behavior, performance, and now we move in 2025 close to OB, organizational behavior. It's not like measuring a performance per se or making a number, is it 8, 10, 9, like we could do in Olympic Games and get a gold medal. Is more how they behave, and behaving compared to their peers is more the 4 quadrant metrics, and how the team is maybe have other aspect of performance, but more on the behavior side, what they do, what they say, what they do, whether that do they score there, or there. This is just maybe for themselves. It's very we try to model a lot of numbers, and there is some example in this article at the end. However, do we need as much number to prove? And it's maybe better to step back, go a bit lighter with more about the principles, what the behavior we expect, and what is the outcome we want, so the performance more, and what's the goal. So what is encouragement, so what we prefer and what we prefer not to have, instead of to have rich goals and performance. I think my perception and experience is companies that move from this balanced scorecard a little bit, valid at the time and still interesting, to a more soft approach with maybe what type of outcome and how to get there, and what we should recommend and not recommend, rather than just try to have a fixed and rigid path to get there. As the outcome of these questionnaires, also the point to the time for CEOs to fill these documents and be mindful there is maybe a disconnect between the academic research and the professionals. So academic would like to explore many things and have a lot of data, but the professionals don't have the time and the luxury to step down. There's a day-to-day business rush to answer some questions, some feedbacks to the collaborator or customers, and I think the quality of the answer are where there's not much trustability to make sure who has answered it, and maybe to the CEO at the time to step back and get some information and take the time to digest and maybe think about it. Maybe the offshore, inside or outside the company, to get those insights, and it's not themselves who do it. So I see that a bit maybe difficult. If I was doing a research like them, asking a CEO to sit down and answer all these questions, they might have some mixed answers and not the qualities they could have expected. And they mentioned that in the article as well, and I agree that's maybe difficult for companies to spend time of the day-to-day activity to fill that amount of questions. Having I read like 25 or 48, I mean, it sounds a lot of numbers, and I personally don't answer questionnaires, so I don't see how it was engagement or the benefits for them to do it. There is a goodwill to do it, but it sounds a bit maybe too much. And how can I by nature get this information without asking? And I think when I don't answer questionnaires, I think you should be smarter, and you should be able to know what I think, know what I know if I like it or don't, and what should improve. Why should I do I need to work for you to give you all my information? At another time to give you this information, you should figure it out. Maybe it's difficult at a large company, but maybe to find sentiment, how the employee are happy or not, sending a 100-question survey, which I answer every year. Is it really the best value of my time, and are we not going fast to make it done? maybe other tools can do it. Thank you, and now I let my colleague to speak for the next 10 minutes.